That's the build, fellas. That's the build, fellas! Tier 4 Xesht. Damn. That was a lot of bleed damage, guys. That was a lot. So, an update to the build. I set up a second weapon set with Tangle Tongue Fork Spear, and we're still using Crown of Ice with Treaded Light so we can get that spell damage into our attack damage. So basically what I did is I uh, I put the weapon set 2 skill points towards just bleeding damage. So whenever I activate Rake or Bloodhunt, it's all on the weapon set 2, which is focused on bleeding. And then when I'm on my Glacial Lance, that's on my weapon set 1, which is focused on cold damage and just Glacial Lance in general. So as you can see here, I have 150k base. I think when I'm buffed up with Ice Bite, I'm like around 200k. I still switch Incision when I'm doing boss fight to apply Incision, because when I have Incision on the target, I'll get more bleeding magnitude because of this. 15% increased magnitude of bleeding when you inflict against enemies that are inflicted by Incision. So basically, we want our Glacial Lance to inflict Incision, and then when we Rake to apply the bleeding, I'll have more bleeding magnitude, which stacks with all our bleeding magnitude here on our bleeding tree. That was just a quick overview of the build. I change a lot. Look at my Blood Hunt. My Blood Hunt has 65.94%, 65% crit chance, and it has, what is it, 709% crit damage bonus. So it's really nice. And then our Rake has what is that, 71% crit chance, which is amazing because we wanted to crit to apply a better bleed damage. Actually, I don't know if critting with Rake applies more bleed damage, but it feels like it does. I haven't really gotten into the nitty gritty of it, but it has 545 crit chance. So these are my support gems. Let's go over them real quick. So Glacial Lance, obviously when you're mapping, you're just putting Ice Bite, but when you're bossing, you have Incision. You have Martial Tempo, Inspiration, Cold Infusion, Primal Armament. Cast on critical, you have Impetus, Sniper's Mark, Frost Bomb for cold exposure, and Single Out to break armor so that the target can take more bleed damage. Infernal Cry, you have Raging Cry, Premeditation. Oh my god, I don't English right now. So this is just to buff our Rake pretty much, and then our Herald device we have Cold Mastery, Ambush, Reach, and Long Shot. And then for our Blood Hunt, we have Heavy Swing for more melee physical damage. Overextend, this gives us a lot of critical damage bonus. As you can see here, it's almost like 20k buff because of our crit damage bonus there. And then Bloodlust for more melee physical damage, 30% more on bleeding enemies. And then Excise, this is really good. It gives us 40% more critical hit and pretty much guarantees a crit chance because we're using Tangled Tongue, and we have 65.94%. We can use Inevitable Critical here to boost that even further to go up to 70%, but I want my Rake and Blood Hunt to crit as much as possible. So if you put Excise in Rake, you'll have a cooldown, and you'll see my Blood Hunt has an 8-second cooldown now, And that's okay because we don't use Blood Hunt often anyway. We want to apply the bleed first and then use the Blood Hunt. So yeah, we have and then elemental focus for more elemental damage because we are doing a lot of glacial lands, cold fusion here. Roa, typical combat frenzy, perfusion, wind dancer. I have precision and blind. And then for the rake, we have deep cuts for more bleed magnitude, concentrated effect for more area damage, inevitable critical because we want rake to crit to get more initial damage. And then momentum for more damage. As you move further, you can see in that if you want to rewind that video, I always back up before I use my rake so I can have more damage. And if you quality rake as well, you get 30% more damage based on the distance traveled. So this is really a good synergy with momentum here. It's basically 70% more damage with rake when you travel 2 meters. Then close combat, and when you hit that target, you get 25% more attack damage, which helps a lot to apply that bleed. And then you pop it with Blood Hunt. These are my gear, like I said, Tangled Tongue for just the bleed. Then I have a regular Sea Glass Spear for Glacial Lands. Here's our amulet with a +2. And then Spirit and Spell damage. Spirit and Spell damage is very important on this one because of Threaded Light and Crown of Ice. And then our rings, we have physical and cold, some meridian cold resistance, and then we have cold and physical. Oh, sorry, I was trying to go here. Cold and physical here, rarity, resistance. I'm capped my resistances except chaos. And then for the boots, this aggravates bleeding when enemies enter your presence. Very important for this build. Then for our belts, just a normal resistance belt. And then for the gloves, we have 10% increased magnitude of bleeding on our socket, and then another +2 level of all melee skills. And as you can see, physical damage, cold damage attacks. I also, for my Dangle Tongue, I place accuracy because I don't know, I feel like I want to crit, then get an extra 24% crit damage bonus. Um, but I'm testing it out. I'm testing accuracy. I can get crit damage bonus on my Tangle Tongue here because it does benefit my crit chances. But we'll see. I'll test it out even more. But as you can see there, I have no problem pretty much half shotting just. For our passive, man, I really want to update this. This is just a preliminary. I don't know if this is my final tree. But as you can see, I have my weapon set 1 very focused on glacial lance damage. We have all our crit damage bonus here, evasion, and then our bleeding is in our weapon set 2. As you can see here, I took all the bleeding nodes. But anyway, that is the update for our bleed damage, bleed cold damage build. Uh, I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. That was my best T4 Xesht run yet. That was awesome. I'm very excited for you guys to see the final build for this. I don't know if it's gonna get better than this, honestly, for my build, but we'll see. Peace.